In this segment, we will discuss politics during the first years under the Constitution. The newly elected president will attempt to establish a unity government, only to be thwarted by cabinet members with vastly differing visions of what kind of nation the Constitution created. We will see how the divisions in the first administration became the basis for American politics even into the present. George Washington was elected president, the first to hold this office. Without an established precedent for presidential conduct, Washington's leadership initially resembled that of a benevolent monarch. Let's consider the traditional role of a king. Theoretically, a king represents and protects his people, serving as a paternal figure. Washington, aware of his unique position, stated his intention to represent all Americans, not just those who supported him. Despite his widespread popularity, this would prove challenging. In forming his cabinet, Washington strategically selected individuals with divergent viewpoints. Alexander Hamilton became Secretary of the Treasury and Thomas Jefferson, Secretary of State. While once allies, their visions for America had grown increasingly distinct. Hamilton believed the Constitution established a strong national government capable of guiding the United States towards becoming a powerful commercial and industrial rival to Britain. Conversely, Jefferson envisioned a nation where citizens could enjoy peace, freedom, and autonomy on their land, with minimal governmental interference. These deep-seated differences sparked intense and often bitter debates between Hamilton and Jefferson within the Washington administration. This schism highlights two fundamentally opposing visions of America, a tension that persists in American politics today. We can frame this divide as a conflict between economics and ideology. On one side, Hamiltonians believed federal policies should foster economic might and national wealth. Conversely, Jeffersonians envisioned a government primarily focused on safeguarding individual liberties and rights, enabling citizens to pursue their own livelihoods with limited federal oversight. In the early years of the Republic, these positions were seen as irreconcilable. Hamilton's supporters viewed Jeffersonians as dangerous radicals, citing Jefferson's own statements about the potential need for another revolution. Those following Jefferson saw Hamiltonians as crypto-monarchists, individuals intent on undermining the Constitution to re-establish a system akin to the British one they had fought to escape. Both sides feared a victory by the other would spell ruin for the nation, leading to an atmosphere where compromise seemed impossible. The ideological split we've discussed crystallized into the first American party system. Those who aligned with Hamilton became known as Federalists. It's crucial to distinguish these Federalists from those who supported ratification of the Constitution. During the ratification debates, Federalists advocated for the Constitution, while Anti-Federalists opposed it. In the first party system, Federalists championed a strong central government with an emphasis on economic development, while those who followed Jefferson, now termed Democratic Republicans, leaned towards a more idealistic vision, prioritizing individual liberties. Let's outline their core beliefs. Federalists, including figures like Washington and John Adams, supported a robust central government, believing it essential for building a powerful commercial and industrial nation. Democratic Republicans, such as Madison and Monroe, argued that any strong government should exist at the state level, allowing states to counterbalance federal power or even withdraw from the Union if necessary. Economically, Democratic Republicans envisioned an agrarian republic. While many were indeed Southern, their ideal was not the plantation system, but rather a society of prosperous, independent small farmers, a vision we'll explore further when we discuss the concept of yeoman farmers. While Federalist support was concentrated in the commercially oriented Northeast, Democratic Republican support predominated in the South, but was not exclusive to it. The fledgling American Republic emerged amidst a complex international landscape. The American Revolution had ignited a wider conflict between Britain and France, and both European powers sought to draw the United States into their orbit. Federalists, with their focus on economic prosperity, gravitated towards Britain, the dominant trading partner at the time. While they aspired to future competition with Britain, immediate economic interests dictated a cautious approach. Disrupting trade with Britain could be disastrous. Conversely, Democratic Republicans, steeped in revolutionary ideals, felt a kinship with France. Witnessing the French Revolution firsthand, Jefferson even participated in it. They saw it as an extension of the American fight for liberty. They envisioned a global wave of revolutions overthrowing tyranny, and the United States, they believed, should play a role in promoting this cause. This stance stemmed from ideology, not economic considerations. The Democratic Republicans embraced a philosophy known as strict constructionism. They believed the Constitution explicitly outlined federal powers, and any actions not expressly permitted were prohibited. The first major test of this principle arose with Hamilton's financial plan. As Treasury Secretary, he proposed establishing a national bank and having the federal government assume state debts incurred during the Revolution. This aimed to bolster the nation's creditworthiness. However, strict constructionists found no constitutional provision authorizing a national bank or federal debt assumption. To them, these actions were unconstitutional. Federalists countered this argument by invoking the Elastic Clause, also called the Necessary and Proper Clause. This clause allows Congress to pass laws deemed necessary to carry out its enumerated powers. Federalists asserted that establishing a national bank and assuming state debts, while not explicitly mentioned in the Constitution, were actions necessary and proper for ensuring a sound and stable government. This fundamental debate, whether the Constitution is a fixed document or a living one adaptable to changing circumstances, persists in American politics. Originally, Jeffersonians advocated for strict constructionism, while Hamiltonians favored a looser interpretation. Today, the battle lines are less clear-cut. Consider modern issues like same-sex marriage, gun rights, and abortion rights. None are explicitly addressed in the Constitution, yet courts and lawmakers have rendered decisions based on their interpretation, demonstrating the continued relevance of this foundational debate. Having surveyed the debates at the Constitutional Convention and the difficulty in coming to agreement, we will notice that one of the strongest arguments in favor of so-called strict constructionism in contemporary politics is based on a myth. That myth is that we should interpret the Constitution based on the founders' original intent. There is no single identifiable original intent. To study historical records to try to find it reveals that each of the participants in the convention had their own intent. The intent of each state was distinct from that of the others. What this means is that proposals as to original intent represent more the intent of the interpreter than that of the founders. Please proceed to answer the questions in the assignment on Canvas. If you have any questions, you can post them in the open forum discussion or contact the professor using Canvas email.